What day is it today? My name is Vander Puchert, and this is Finding Frequency. Didn't I start the episodes like this in the beginning? What day is it today? Because I mostly forget, and I feel like I'm back there. Because a moment ago, I really had to stop and think what the actual day was today. Keep on thinking it's Wednesday and it's only Tuesday. Slow down, Vander, slow down. Yeah, it's, I don't know what it is. If it's like part of the weather changing or, yeah, I mean, I've been a bit busy with things, not necessarily business things, but also trying exploring new ideas and new thoughts. And it's taken me late nights sometimes, when the little one goes to bed and I have a little bit of time to think. And yesterday, after recording the episode and switching off the light, I crashed. I usually stay up late. I'm a bit of a night owl. And yesterday I crashed. I was up at 4 and then started kind of messing around, researching and starting the day earlier. And I must say, I felt better starting the day earlier. I know my mom does the same. She's also like an early bird. I have to choose. Am I a night owl or early bird? Because it's like if you do both, it destroys you. What can I talk about? So much is happening in Poland at the moment. So I didn't talk about it yesterday. I didn't want to be negative, and it is not necessarily a negative thing. It's something that is heartening. I think it's a movement. It's action being taken, and for the last 4 days, people have been in the streets. Yeah, just down the road here. There's been a massive blockade all across Poland, and it's really focused around the Supreme Court decision to ban all abortions. I think the only abortions will be allowed if incest or rape. And yeah, like I've mentioned before, I am pro-choice. I want everybody to be cool. I want everybody to have a fair chance. But I think at the end of the day, we don't need government to make decisions about those kind of things. And then I want to take a step further. I don't think we need men to make decisions about things that involves women's bodies. We need to step away from that. That's not what we do. We also don't need people with funny frocks to make decisions. In that sense, we can get advice and guidance, but ultimately we should be adult enough to make a decision. And sometimes we make bad decisions. I know that, but we need less government, people. Less government. I'm not saying lawlessness. I don't need someone to hold my hand. And perhaps we need someone to let go of our hands so that we can make the mistakes and become the adults we need to be. Adults who don't wear little red caps and make real decisions based on facts. Sorry, I just had to drop that in there. But yeah, we have to take responsibility for the things we do. I don't need the government to make that decision. And unfortunately, the government is a big machine. We are all individuals. I really truly believe that. We are all special and unique. Blanket rules is not going to work for human beings. So that's my opinion. And the thing is, I've said to Marta is that, I encourage people to have their beliefs and thoughts and whatever they want. Just don't impose it on me or on other people. Because, when I was living in South Africa, even now still, that influence, I could do whatever I wanted. I could have been a criminal. I could have been a fascist. I could have been whatever. Now, I know there's a lot of things that play into it, but ultimately, something that guided me on my path was the education, the culture, the life lessons and rules that my parents and discipline my parents instilled in me. Because for me, the same is true for Francie. I need to share with him as much as I can and guide him as much as I can. That's my job. And if Francie wants to be pro-life, then let it be it. And I don't necessarily think pro-life means that you're anti-abortion, by the way, because whose life are we talking about? But, if I raise Francie in the right way, I don't need a church or a government or anything to tell Francie or force Francie to do certain things. He should be doing things by choice. And I think that makes for a stronger community because we all share in things together, right? I'm not being forced because I don't know about you. I'm a bit of an asshole when I get forced to do things. I start kicking against it and I become a grumpy. I'm just not a good person in that situation. So, man, I've been going on about that. So they were in the streets last night and brought Warsaw and all the big cities to a standstill for 4 hours or more, I think, protesting that. And this, in the meantime, also as we are heading towards even stricter lockdowns because of the coronavirus making its rounds. But honestly, here in Europe, I don't know how they're going to be enforcing even stricter lockdowns and stopping people from working. We had protests here a couple of days ago against any stricter restrictions on people. And I understand it. People need to make a living. People need to live. People need to earn money and go do what they need to do to look after their families. And if you don't offer alternatives, locking their door is not going to help. Even if I know that it's for our own safety, I think we need to think about things a little bit differently. There must be a different way to do this. And that brings me to something that I heard today. So the cool thing about having connections all over the globe and speaking to different people like I do, I had a business call with a colleague in Scotland. Don't get to talk to her a lot, but we kind of shared some thoughts, and she is in one of the hotspots. She mentioned to me, I don't know where she lives, but that they are in the hotspot and the highest tier now counts for them, and they are looking at being completely locked down there. And we were talking about this, and I said, I don't know if that will work in Poland because, you're taking fundamentally people's living away from them. People can't feed their families. And she said that there's this interesting remark that someone made recently about the situation and what's happening with this pandemic. And it's kind of a result of, and I never looked at it this way. So let me share this with you because you might have a different perspective. Is that if you think of our society as like this old school class structures, like, upper class, middle class, lower class, I hate those things. Or you know what I'm saying? Like there's different economic levels that you look at. If you do marketing and all these things, you tend to group people. But if I had to use that for a moment and reflect on what's happening in the pandemic, is that a lot of us, probably consider myself as the middle tier economic group, because I definitely can see my own privilege here. But for us, the pandemic has just caused us to stay at home, work from home. Marta's company easily transitioned to working virtually, business as usual. Of course, there's risks. And I've been doing the virtual thing for a long time now. But what has happened and what this thing has amplified is that our friends who are not as economically viable as us or as strong as us, they are now our servants, because every now and then my doorbell rings. Guess what? Someone is delivering a package. Guess what? Someone is delivering some takeaway. Someone's delivering this, someone's doing that. I go to the shop and there's someone working behind the counter, essential. And they are the lowest paid people. And yes, they are still making a living, and we should all be grateful for what we have and to make a living in the first place. But if you strip that away for a moment and you just look at like Mr. Vanner sitting in his home and ding dong, his servant arrives with a package because He's in that privileged position. Anyway, I'm saying that because we need to think about it, and it's what we do about it, right? Where does this go from here? People are getting angry. People are getting frustrated. People are getting depressed. So let's see what happens next. But there's also stories of hope, stories of new opportunities, and I've certainly had those cross my path even today. So a bit of a reflection for this episode, and I hope that this is something that you can also respond to and think about. Love to hear your thoughts, or let's share some thoughts. Anyway, I need to go and run a virtual event, people. Yes, people. There's an audience awaiting some insights from a whole bunch of speakers. So this virtual thing has really kept me busy. And I hope that you are getting some time to get out. I did today. I jumped on the longboard to quickly go to the post office, pick something up. Just that moment of getting out in nature and just getting a bit of fresh air. I hope you had this chance to do that too. It's a recharge for a little bit. Cool. Let's get busy. It's time to hit the keyboard. Thanks for listening.